Hi everyone and welcome to the Warhammer Podcast. We're your hosts, Jack
And Dan.
and today we're going to be talking about our little trip to Warhammer World.
Yeah.
Can we improve it?
Yeah. It wouldn't be us if we didn't come up with some ways that they can make it better. I mean, Warhammer World is a mecca for mini collectors and gamers, but could it be better? I think, well, let's get into it, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's some things that we adored, other things that maybe there's some room for improvement.
Us there all the time.
Yeah.
Big improvement.
Yes.
Or down.
Yeah. But before we get into that, a quick reminder.
Like, share, subscribe, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
I was
the
thinking,
three.
I panicked there for a second.
What am I meant to be reminding?
No, but yeah, honestly, liking, subscribing, commenting, it all helps.
It's
so
massively.
we really do appreciate it, and we do have a goal of trying to reply to all of our comments.
Yes.
So, we do read them.
Yeah, we do. We really appreciate them. I think one of the reasons we started this was kind of create our own little corner of the community.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you do comment and we don't get back to you, let us know.
We won't get back to that one either.
Yeah.
Like, nah, I gave it that.
We're just going to double down on ignoring you.
Yeah.
No, we won't do that, I promise. Well, let's get into why we were there as a brief little intro then. So, why were we at Warhammer World?
Yeah, so we were going down there basically for Rally Point Games in mind to support Simon there. So, obviously, big charity. We go down there.
Yes.
That was really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's an annual event at Warhammer World. This was the biggest one. We went down with a couple of our pals, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I just caught you mid-sip there.
You did. Alex and Max.
Yes.
We went down with, so good friends of ours.
Yeah.
And Max has been there a couple of times before. It was Alex's first time, just like
yes. So that was quite nice having Max there as like a handy guide because he knew his way around and raised a decent amount of money as well. I think over 5,000 as things stand for the charity, mental health charity Mind, which is a great cause.
Yes.
And if you want to get involved next year, what's the best way to find Rally Point?
Instagram will be the best way.
Yes.
So Instagram, we'll have the links in the description below.
Yeah.
So go check them out because you can get involved, and I think he's signing people up now, isn't he?
Yeah, you can get on like a kind of a early bird type of a list. Best to speak to Simon about all this. We don't want to cause him any grief.
No, yes.
He's got all these angry people saying, "Well, these guys said,
yeah." If we mention this one thing, you get on. Sorry.
Yeah, but definitely, if it's a fantastic day. Definitely go and get yourselves on the list. If it might be a waiting list or not, whatever, but go and speak to Simon.
Yeah.
So we while we were there, we obviously got to roll dice.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's start with you. How did your game go?
Just one experience, we've talked about it for ages about going down Warhammer World and being like, oh well, actually playing Warhammer World will be an amazing experience. So I think first of all, it was just amazing. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. I played against someone called Jack. So
Jack v Jack
made it super easy for me to remember the opponent. But had an amazing game. I brought my Necrons, so I was very happy with that. I was more comfortable with my Annihilation Legion, and I think he was playing Space Marines.
All right, yeah.
He was the Black Templars.
Right.
So I was a bit like, oh, he's gonna run up.
Yeah, they're pretty tasty.
They are. But game went really well. Ended on 91 to me, 79 to him. So
wow,
very
quite a close game. Yeah.
I think he was winning pretty much all game until I started just trying to pick off some of the units. His Calidus Assassin that he had, it was awful. He put it right in the middle, right where I couldn't get to him. Yeah. And he just the way he played it was great because he put it right in the middle and he was on the objective. I couldn't get line of sight. I didn't have any good close combat ones. And the one close combat one I did have was the Catan, and I brought the Void Dragon, and I just misplayed him. I put him so far back in my deployment that he only has a 6
forever
inch.
to get.
It took forever to get there. And when he did get there, he did kill the Calidus Assassin. But he just took, that was like turn 5. And
right,
I was like, oh my God. So he was scoring easy points and he kept on pulling area denial, storm objective. I was like, no. But luckily, turn 3, 4, and 5 for me, I managed to get some nice easy ones.
That often happens in your games, I think, is you give yourself a challenge for the first couple of turns and then slowly pull it back.
Pull it back. Yeah. I realize I get absolute garbage ones and I'm like, well, I'm not going to overextend. I'm not going to ruin it. So no, it was good. It was very good. What about your first game then?
Got hammered. I made an error that I think is probably based on some might call it hubris, others might say it was just outright arrogance. But I took a toned down list because the way this event had been, this is the first time we've been, and the way it was explained to us was it was absolutely not a tournament. So I didn't take an optimized list. I took a toned down version of my Dark Eldar list. Took a lot of the naughtier stuff out.
You do that every single time.
Yeah, and I got stomped because the guy I was up against, Ryan, had brought a really finely tuned Harlequins list. So it was a lesson learned. Don't take a weak list because you can always tone down how you play a strong list, but you can't upgrade a weak one. I mean, he had 5 Harlequin boats with double haywire, which is devastating wounds against vehicles on a 4-up. So he just shot all my boats off the board and then killed all the squishy stuff inside.
You get like a lance and such.
I mean, he had 9 bikes with haywire as well. So I'd brought an aeroplane just for a laugh, and I knew like if I don't kill all the boats on this side of the board, when I bring the airplane in, they'll just haywire it off the board. So I killed all the boats, and then he had 2 bikes left that could see it, and they one-shotted it, and I was like, right, okay. All right.
This is fun.
Yeah.
So Dan's sitting there raging at Warhammer World already.
No, I mean, I was just like, I knew I was going to move against it because we'll talk about the terrain and stuff. But the guy I played, we exchanged numbers and that, and I messaged him afterwards because he wanted like I'd been keeping the scores and took some pictures, so I sent them to him, and I said, that list was absolute filth, but I'm completely here for it. He was our kind of like, he would have fitted quite nicely into our group. Yeah,
we do like whenever I see like a sweaty list, I'm always like, I respect that.
It was quite funny because the guy who I was meant to play didn't turn up. So there was another guy who is a friend of the organizer, Simon, called Neil, lovely Neil, who I was going to play. I think he was playing Dark Angels, quite a casual player. Good. So my list and his in my head probably would have worked quite well. Yeah. But then Ryan's opponent didn't turn up, so Neil had to drop out. So when Neil's literally about to, we'd shook hands, Neil's literally about to start putting his units on the table, and Simon comes over and goes, "I'm sorry, Neil, but you're not playing now."
He has a sweaty list that Dan's going to play instead.
Yes. Yeah.
You done that for you. Did that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'll remember that, Simon. But the game itself was really good. I lost by about 30 points, but it was one of those games where I knew I was up against it. So it's like, let's see how many points I can score. How difficult can I make it for my opponent? Yeah. The answer was not very, but it was good fun, really good. And I've never played into Harlequins, a full Harlequin list before. So that was quite, it's a new experience, isn't it?
Exactly right. Yeah. But I had a rough idea on the Black Templars, but he had some, I think the Hellblasters, they're the ones that shoot on death.
The plasma ones that shoot on death. Yeah.
So he had a squad of 10 of those being led as well. So I knew they were going to hurt. Yeah. So I had I played a very cagey turn 1 and turn 2, so that's probably why I didn't score a lot of points then as well. But he moved up. He got turn 1, and we both didn't want turn 1 because it just meant that
like you've got to come forward. Yeah.
We both had shooting, and again we'll talk about the terrain later. But we both had shooting, and we both like, right, well, we don't want to make the run to the objective because we knew we were going to lose. But luckily, he did get first for me, and he didn't overextend his Hellblasters. He got in the right position to shoot at the right unit. Right. But unfortunately, I just had other units ready to rock.
Ready to pounce.
So I took them out first because I know for a fact that shot on death on 3-ups.
It's strong, isn't it?
Crazy good.
It's strong.
It's just FAQ that, just to clarify, that's exactly what they do.
Right.
Because I think they were saying that, if you die to, like, disembark, for example, they were like, I can shoot on death on that one. People were like, no, you can't. But it's like, no, rules as written, you can. You can. Yeah. And they've just FAQ'd that. So.
Yeah, you blow up in an explosion, somebody does mortal wounds to you can shoot on death. Yeah. So any model is destroyed, they can shoot on death on a 3-up.
Which is scary.
It's very strong. Very, very strong.
Very good. So I took out them first, and then the rest of them, all them being very awkward units, I still managed to kind of get around the board and kind of take them out. And he had some, the biggest terminals, the biggest Space Marine ones that had like flamers and such.
The aggressors.
I think they were the aggressors.
There's the Centurions are the really big ones, and then the aggressors are the ones like
definitely the aggressors.
Yeah, the chunkier boys. They look like slightly chunkier Terminators. I think.
Yeah, they had those with flamers. Yeah, he slowly walked them up the board, but as soon as he got them in the middle of the middle board, I had like 3 units around him, and I was like, well, I can't move now because
Overwatch, baby.
Overwatches, and I moved one of them, and I knew how to move one, so I moved one of them and immediately just destroyed it. Yeah. So I was like,
They're pretty. Those flamers are so strong in this edition,
Yeah.
and those aggressors can be quite good.
Yeah.
Interestingly, my game was the opposite, is because both of us being pointy ears with loads of boats, we're both very fast armies.
Yes, you
so
are.
because of the deployment and the terrain, we whoever got first turn, we're looking at, like, I think I said this to Ryan, or certainly said it in my head, but we knew whoever got first turn was going to be able to get move far enough to get line of sight on their opponent and delete quite a chunk of their army.
Yeah.
And I lost the roll off. I still would have lost the game, I think, if I'd one turn gone first, because Ryan, first of all, was a good player, and secondly, it was a difficult matchup. But it would have been a bit closer, I think.
Yeah. Good.
And, but it was interesting. And then after that, we had a wander around, which we'll talk about a lot. But before we get into that, we were actually quite good. I'd been talking. There was some talk beforehand of some heavy spending, but we didn't spend loads.
We were joking around, being like, "Oh, you're going to spend loads of money.
Buy a Titan.
Got my second credit card out the store just for this." But no, I think we're both relatively good. My purchase is justified, and I will die. I will die on my hill.
Yeah, I think it was definitely
But it's like me just trying to explain, no, please.
No, I mean, I think.
Well, should we
talk about what you got. Yeah.
Well, I spent £60 in Warhammer World, which again, for Warhammer, I think it's modest.
It's mine. It's very little.
But when I say what I got, they'll probably be like, well, hold on, that's a lot more. So I bought the obelisk. It's 115 quid.
Yes.
But I had a £60 gift card.
Yes.
So this is where I am going to die on my hill, justify my spending.
Yeah.
You had to spend the gift card in Warhammer. The obelisk, you can't get it at a discount from Element Games because they don't sell it in store.
It's one of the few models that is only available from Warhammer, isn't it?
Exactly. So I could have spent that £60 on some Warriors or some Lich Guard that I can get at a reduced price on Element Games. So I was just like, well, I'd rather put that 60 quid towards something that you can't get cheaper elsewhere.
Yeah, that's a good idea, yeah.
And then I still get it cheaper. So I spent £60, had a £50 gift card.
Yep. And it's nice to come home with a big box.
It was nice.
Wasn't it?
I left this. Everyone looked at us. They were like, "Oh, here he is," and a big box. And I was like, "Welcome back to my desk."
And I think beforehand, because we've been joking on about this, and I'd been saying to our friend Max that come with us, that I'm going to need your help to restrain him here, because if he sees something like a Titan, he's going to buy it with that credit card.
I did see those.
And Max was like, "No, I'll help him carry it." Like, no, Max.
Good, Max. That's the type of friend
you want. He's an enabler.
That's exactly what the friend I want. Yeah.
We've just done a video about whether our obsession with Warhammer is an addiction. You don't need enablers when you've got a problem.
When we're but I mean, even that. I mean, I spent half of that in Element Games.
We went to Warhammer World on Saturday. The Sunday we took a trip into Nottingham City Centre and went to Element Games, which is a great shop.
It was so much variety inside there.
Yeah, it was actually smaller than I was expecting.
It's small, it's shorter but longer.
Yeah. It's kind of like long and thin. But there's they pack a lot in there, don't they? There's a lot of stuff.
Where we're going with this one?
Well, yeah. I mean,
I bought a bunch of paints from there.
Well, you and me both, because they have, even though it was what I would consider a comparatively small shop, is they had about 4 different paint ranges in there. I think,
a very good selection.
So they had Citadel, they had AK,
Vallejo.
they had Vallejo, and they had some Army Painter, and they had 2 thin coats.
Yes,
so I can't count. That's 5.
Probably had more.
Probably another one I missed.
But I picked up some the metallic ones. Is that, well, I forgot which brand that was from. Army Painter, probably the metallic colours. I got a couple of 2 thin coats and a spray.
Yeah.
As well, just for
the sprays are really good value in there. The Colour Forge sprays. Colour Forge is the best rattle can you can get, and they're very good value in there. They were like, some of them were like under a tenner, I think. Which is.
I think mine was like 11 quid or something like that.
One of the issues with the rattle cans is postage now. Is some carriers won't carry them because they can potentially explode, I guess. And if the ones that do charge you a fortune, so you're almost paying in some cases as much for the can as you would.
We discussed that at the time, and I had 2 in my hand. I was like, "Oh, you're right, Dan. I'll buy 2."
Yeah.
And as I was walking around the shop looking at other things, I was like, "I don't need 2. No, I'm gonna put 1 back. So I definitely don't need 2.
I was the same. Picked up 2, and I know I've got at least 1 full can of each at home. And I was just like, realistically, I'll be back.
I'm always going to be back on Element games.
Yeah.
Just buying stuff.
But one of the things I really, the reason I bought paints there was because the guy in the shop, I'm sorry I can't remember your name, but he was fantastic.
The old word, yeah, really helpful.
He really knew his shit about paints.
Yeah.
So things like you and I both were looking for shades because both of us have been a bit disillusioned with the glossiness of the new Null Noil and the Agrax Air shade.
Yes,
they're very shiny, and I don't like that. I don't know why they've changed the recipe.
Down. Yeah.
So he was able to say, oh well, actually, if you like them, try these.
It was like Oblivion for no, I want it was like Oblivion something.
Yeah, the two thin coats. I'm sure he said that they're virtually the same, identical to the old recipes.
Yeah, he says it's the exact same recipe
of
what they made. So don't know why they changed them in the first place, but obviously it worked. So they hopped on it and made the same one.
But yes, that's one of the advantages of going to a third party because they will, number one, they'll have more than one paint range, and number two, they will if the shop staff know their stuff, then you will get really good advice about what's right for you.
He's given us a really good, I haven't tested out yet, but he's given us a really good selection of the Necron ones. I bought a couple of the Praetorians a couple of weeks prior.
Yes.
So I was like, right, well, that'll be really good to test out a new paint scheme.
Yeah.
Well, not paint scheme, but paint range.
Yes.
And just expand on what I've got. A lot of people out there probably do just sit there and collect Citadel.
I'm guilty of that. I mean, I've got bits and pieces of the other ones, but Citadel still tends to be my go-to. Yeah. And there's one of the things that we realise in that shop as well is the price disparities. Like Citadel's paints are expensive compared to what the other ranges aren't.
And exactly, and if the other ones do better, which from what we've been told so far, seem to do the trick. So I think that ability to I'm trying to mix it up a bit. So you basically buy the best paint for the job. Yes.
So if it's a Citadel paint, fair enough. Some of their contrast paints are awesome, for example.
Yeah.
Some of the other paints are pretty good, but if there are better options in the other paint ranges, I'd rather use those.
Yeah, I was almost tempted back in the Warhammer World shop and look at the Legions. I think it's what they are, Warhammer Legions. It's like the smaller version.
Legionis Imperialis.
Honestly,
yes,
they look amazing. They look really fun. Just looking at all, just like because again, in one box you get like a full army of stuff. So like obviously in all Combat Patrol magazines or Christmas boxes, you get like 500 points, 600 points.
Yeah, Combat Patrol's about 400-500 points.
But in this one, you got like the big star box. You got 2 full armies, and I'm like, oh, well, if we just buy this one box, and it's all the same miniatures and miniatures that we're used to, just on a smaller scale.
Yes,
they look really cool.
Yeah, I really do. Back a long time ago, it was originally called Adeptus Titanicus, and I was a big fan of that. And then they brought out an expansion called Space Marine, where they brought loads of little diddy men that you could play with as well, and it was a lot of fun. And I like the terrain for it; it's gorgeous as well.
Yes.
My concern with it is Games Workshop has a history and a habit of bringing these games out, and then if they don't do as well as they'd like, they just kind of let them die a bit.
And just to clarify that, they do well. Like they sell, there's a good little thing for them, but then GWR just like, nah, it's just not as good as what we were expecting.
Yeah, so I'm not Valrak and I wouldn't pretend to be, but we heard some stories while I was at Warhammer World that some rumours that Warcry is for the chop, which is on the, for those only 40k players like us, it's basically like the Age of Sigmar version of Kill Team.
Yes.
Like you play with a warband of like 5 to 10 models, and the scenery for the terrain for that is amazing.
Really well, Kill Team, yeah.
But they're talking about maybe that's not doing as well as it could, and they're going to stop supporting it. This wouldn't. It's probably worth a video. So I'm right, they do this quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why. That's the only thing stopping me from looking at Legionis Imperialis is because I've just got this paranoia that in 2 or 3 years' time it'll just be a dead game system.
I'd be horrible if 40k was to disappear.
Yeah, it's not. It's the earner. That's the earner. Yeah,
that'd be terrifying.
Yeah, but it's always something to be careful of. I brought it with me and I forgot to put it on the table, but I spent more in Element games than I did at Warhammer World.
Yes, what did you get?
At Warhammer World, I only bought one thing, which was a new copy of The Infinite and the Divine, which in my opinion is the best book in the Black Library.
So good.
The old one's fallen a bit, so I was like,
you've read it that much, that intensely.
I don't look after my books properly. A paperback book they'll only last for so long.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see the limited edition one there.
Yeah, it would. Like, they didn't even have that.
That's been sold out everywhere. I would have, if that was there, I would have picked that one up.
But I spent more in Element games. I got some paint, same as you. I also picked up the Kill Team box of Mandrakes. Yes,
very nice.
It's a really nice box of that. And at Element Games, it was only 40 quid, and you get 10 models in that, which is decent.
No,
I mean, really so I'm looking forward to building and painting those, but I'm gonna have to wait because I'm on a model buying ban again, self-imposed, but promised.
After our video on addiction, you were like, I'm going to stop.
So I justified it to my wife by saying, look, I don't need to build them yet, so why don't you give them to me for Christmas?
Yeah.
So I've got to wait, but it's it's a win-win in that respect.
And you've just got a bunch of new orcs as well.
I did, yeah. So we got back from Warhammer World, and on the Monday I got an email saying I'd won a raffle.
Yeah. It was like, oh, great.
Yeah. And this is an odd one because there was a raffle for the Rally Point event. Yes. It was a beautifully painted Tyranid army by Slayer Miniatures, Tom at Slayer Miniatures, who we met while we were there. He's a lovely lad. And I didn't win that. And then I was like, I got it because I would love those. The models were lush.
Stones as you were leaving.
Yeah.
Like, I really wanted this army.
I did. It's gorgeous. And then on the Monday, I got an email saying I won this orc army in a raffle. So and another charity raffle. So yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
That was the Space Ducks. Go and follow them on Instagram because they regularly do charity where they build and paint an army and sell it and raffle it to raise money for Campaign Against Living Miserably, which is a really important charity as well. But yeah, so that was a nice little bonus.
It's been interesting because you've been talking for a while about like orcs and such.
Yeah, I've got some.
You've had the itch for it in the past.
Yeah, I really like our friend Dan plays orcs. I've got some. I bought a few second hand off my pal Ryan, and they've been kind of sat in the garage waiting as next year's project.
Yeah,
and then I won a 2,500 point army. I mean, a lot of it's a stomper, so I don't know how many points a stomper is. That's their equivalent of knights, I think, isn't it?
It's
a big old model, beautiful model. It's really well painted as well. I've really looked out there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think about being an orc player now.
Orc mentality.
Yeah,
I love it.
But that was they just arrived yesterday, so I'm just getting them on the shelves and that at home.
Long story short, we did very well at Warhammer. We didn't spend as much as we thought.
No, it was a great trip. I felt like the universe was rewarding me for being a good boy at Warhammer World. Yeah,
here's all these orcs.
You didn't spend too much money, but here you go. Yeah,
very nice, very nice.
Good.
Well, should we talk about some stuff that we thoroughly enjoyed then at Warhammer World?
Before we talk about the negatives, let's do the positives. What about you?
There's so much more negatives to this, but like, what can I say? Everything?
Of course you can. Yeah.
I honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed everything.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a big list of stuff. Yeah. Basically. I knew I wouldn't remember it all when we were talking about it, but yeah. I mean, the game itself that we played with Jack, that was a great game. Very fun. He was newish to the hobby. That was his only like 6th game or something.
Wow.
So it was very nice just to have that chill mindset of just me and him having a chat. I was getting drinks delivered to me by Max constantly. I had an endless stream of beer coming in.
Nice.
So that was that probably hindered my game a bit, but it was still made for
probably leveled the playing field a bit. Yeah.
The Bugman's burger, I had the chicken burger there.
Oh yes, you did.
That
Yes,
was really good. The jalapeno chicken burger, spicy one.
I mean, we ended up because we started the games around 10ish. We ended up kind of playing through lunch, and then we wanted to go to the shop, and then we wanted to look through the exhibition. So we skipped lunch. By the time we got into Bugman's, we were ready for some food.
I devoured it. Like it hit the table and I was like, it was so good. I mean, the exhibition itself.
Yes.
What a fantastic little place that was.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You know, there was just so many models. I mean, I think we all entered together, and I think I was the last to leave because I was there for so long, just looking.
There is so much to see there. You could, and because the depth of the storytelling in each of the dioramas, you could go back and find something new each time.
Every time.
Speaking about finding things.
Oh, the assassin.
Yeah.
So I swore I found it. I was so committed. I was like, I remember just walking around because it's if no one's been there, it's like you basically do a circle around it, but it's like different levels. You actually go down.
You start at the top and so you're looking down on it, and then you come down to kind of ground level, don't you?
It was mad. It was a lot bigger than I thought.
It's huge,
It's so big. But then I was walking around and I was like, I'm not going to find it. You know, it's really hard to find. But
yes.
I just started looking. I just liked all the different battles that were going on in this big battle. And there was this window that I seen. I'll put a little picture of it on screen. But there was a little window that I seen as like
in the tower, and there's like a little shadow almost in it, isn't there?
That's it. And there was like something leaning out, and I was like, I looked at the other windows. No, the other windows didn't have this thing leaning out. And I was like, nah, that's not it. I was like, they wouldn't put it there. It looks too obvious. And I zoomed in on my camera, and it looked like the what's the assassin called? The Exodus assassin?
Calidus or the Eversaw? Is it?
No, it's one that leans out. It's got like the needle kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I know which one you mean, but I can't remember the name. Yeah,
it's because the reason why I thought it was that one was because that one leans to the side on its model base.
Yes.
So it looked like that was leaning out. So I took a picture of it. I walked up at the store when I was buying my obelisk. I was like, hey, let me down lightly here. I was like, I know it's not going to be the assassin, but I was like, is this the assassin in the window? And it's funny because the guy looks and he goes, give me a second. And he walks away and I'm like, rubbing my hands. I'm like, oh, let's go. What's this? What's that? And I'm like, he comes back and he's like, yeah, so he goes, I don't know what that is. It's not the assassin. And a heart sinks. I'm like, come on. And he goes, it's not the assassin. He goes, but I don't know what it is, but it's not for the assassin for today. And I was like, no worries, just the obelisk then.
Yeah.
But I was very surprised. Yeah, I think what was it? Was it Lucy as well?
So we met a couple of other people there. They are called Sisters of Eldar on Instagram, Em and Lucy. And I was walking around this part of this exhibit with Lucy. She was stopped on the stairs looking in the same place as you. Yep. I didn't know this because you came after us. And jokingly, I'd said to her, have you found the assassin like? And she's like, actually, I think I have. Yeah, and it turned out it was exactly the same window that you were looking at.
Good eyes.
So, yeah. I mean, I could have never found it. I can't find my arse with both hands. No chance. I wasn't even trying to find it. But it was interesting that you'd both kind of spotted it in the same place.
Something was there. But see, when I asked the bloke, he was just like, nah. He goes,
because this tower, obviously, like most towers, it's got 4 sides, 4 arches, and there's only a guy in one of those one of those windows.
Only from a certain angle.
Yeah,
well,
you can only see it. It's difficult to see. Yeah,
because if you look at the archway from the archway from the window from a different angle, you just can't see the guy leaning out. So that's why I was like, oh well, this makes more sense. He's not on display. You can only see him from one angle, and the way they do the lighting there is a bit deceiving because the lighting makes it really red. Yeah, so it's really hard to see some of the models. Yeah, and the assassin will most likely be painted as one of either the background or maybe one of the.
It's gonna be hard to spot, isn't it?
Yeah, they will make it hard.
Good,
because you get if you don't know, if you find the assassin, you get a free assassin.
Yes, that's it. So that it's a challenge. I mean, mainly, a free assassin. You might be like, oh wow, free assassin, but it's mainly the kudos of finding the assassin, isn't it? Yeah,
you'll
be a legend in your Warhammer circle.
Exactly.
If you spotted the assassin. Yeah. I don't know what your tablet's gone mad.
Refuses to stay on
It does not want to stay on script, does it? It's worse than me for going off script. But there's a few other things. Do you want
to do a few of yours? I feel like I'm running down my list.
Yeah. I would first of all, I would start off with is that the staff are great. Like from everyone in there, from Bugman's to the shop, etc. And they're all really, really good, which is important to hire. I think those customer service levels are really important when it's like. And this is like Disneyland for nerds, isn't it?
Exactly.
So it's so that you want that level of customer service there, which is good. Like you, I thought the food and Bugman's, I talked a lot about, as a fat man, I talk a lot about food, but I talked before we went about this. I didn't actually get to try the breakfast because our friend Max, bless him, got up an hour and a half early on the morning and did us all a fry up, didn't he?
So, I literally woke up, had a shower, walked downstairs, and there's Max.
And a massive plate full of food. So thank you, Max. Yes. Bugman's is surprisingly good value. I definitely recommend it. I think that because, maybe call me cynical, but often those kind of places where they have an absolute captive audience, like you can't go and buy food anywhere else. No. So why, they don't have to try that hard, but they're still trying quite hard. It was appreciated. And it's not too expensive, it's good. I think speaking of value, the exhibition is £8.50. And again, in the preview video, I was a little bit cynical about this, but that is my friend Lee from my local club, who's on runs the Betrayed by Dice podcast, and he was saying that £8.50 is the best value for money you can get from GW, and he's right.
Just the different ones that were there, the different exhibitions.
Would you want to? There's a few that you'd mentioned on your list.
There was. So the first one, the burning of Prospero.
Oh,
what a scene! What a scene! Magnus is right in the middle, and just all the space wolves going towards the temple. It was great because I've listened to the book of Burning of Prospero. So just seeing it in person was just really good.
Yeah, it's a key. There's 2 books there. There's 1,000 Suns and Burning of Prospero, which tells the story of like the role that the 1,000 Suns and Magnus play in causing a lot, downfall of the Imperium, basically, during the Horus Heresy, the beginning of the sort of at the start, isn't it? Yeah. So to see that dioramaed was really nice, wasn't it?
So good. There was of course a Necron Tomb World.
Yeah, that was quite far through. It was almost like the last room or something, wasn't it?
It was. I love seeing it though. I thought it was really good. Just a big pyramid in the background. And obviously, I think it was a space marines attacking it. I think it was. Yeah. Something like that. That was really, really good. Another one that I've not mentioned actually is the Tau one again near the end. I really like the Tau scene going around, and I think it was Chaos or something like that.
I think so. It was a really good one. Yeah,
I think Tau do really good scenery because they've got the models that are like those big planted, artillery missile kind of one. So they do really well for that.
Yeah, there's something about those the big kind of Gundam style robots that look really good in the diorama, isn't it? They're made for it, really.
They are. And I think the last one was the Imperial Guard March.
Yeah.
That was really good because a lot of them were the old sculpts as well. They were the older models, and you had the older Sentinels in the back as well.
Older Sentinels, and then literally hundreds and hundreds of Guard models, but they're quite old. They've obviously, because some of we noticed as we walked through that some of them, it's noticeable in the Space Marine ones, for example. Obviously, they're all Primaris Marines, but with the new Terminator sculpts, they seem to have updated quite a lot of those. But they'd obviously looked at gone like, there must be like 400 or 500 Imperial Guard in there, and have gone, we'll do that later.
We'll not do that one now. That's a horde list, basically.
Yeah, it is,
But again, I'll put some pictures on screen.
It's a brilliant, it's brilliant diorama, but it's got very kind of 40s Nazi Germany or Soviet Union style vibes. Like, it looks like one of those big military parades, isn't it?
They're showing their strength, basically.
Exactly. Show of strength.
It was worth it.
Show of strength with their little flashlights. Bless them. They don't know what's about to hit them.
Hey, enough of them was good. Enough flashlights will be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, and honestly, they were some of my ones.
Good.
I mean, any more from you? I know you've got a few more, I think.
I think some of the unique elements make it worthwhile. Obviously, we're living in Instagram age, and everybody wants to take selfies. So they take pictures with the rhino outside.
Yeah, of course.
You take pictures.
Iconic, really,
they've got the statue of Titus in the atrium when you go in.
Yeah.
So that those kind of things I think are really, really enjoyed. Yeah.
That was very good. A little randomly surprised there was Dave from Mini Wargaming.
Oh wow! Yes.
I felt almost rude because I remember I think you were chatting away to him, and I was I think I had just finished my game.
Yes.
Bursting for the loo.
Yeah.
I was like, right, I was gonna go give my drink to Dan. I was like, right, you hold this. I was like, I'll go. And I jumped in. I was like, oh, maybe would you mind holding this? And you go, oh, look at this. And I was like, I was like, oh, you're you. I was like, I know you. I think I've watched them since they've been around on YouTube for ages.
They're the OGs of like battle reports on YouTube pretty much. Yeah.
Obviously the Vault, that's really good as well. I've been on that for a while.
Yeah, that's like their membership program, isn't it?
It is,
for the extra content, all that goodness.
Yeah, it's so good. So meeting Dave there for the first time, I think it's one of the biggest people we've met.
Yeah, massively so in the hobby, 100%. And he was, I know everyone says this, but he was genuinely a really lovely guy. So he was over in the UK promoting some of the stuff that he was doing, visiting various people. So he'd just come to Warhammer World for the day to do some filming, and it just because the event was on, he found out what it was, and because we were all there raising money for charity, he spent a lot of time going around the tables talking to almost everybody, because we all had on these purple shirts,
easily findable.
So he didn't have to do that, and I think it just demonstrates the character of the man. Sometimes you can meet some of these celebs and their real life personas are very different to how they come across on the screen. Dave is as enthusiastic and passionate about this hobby in real life as he is on screen.
He was a pleasure to meet, and it was very nice.
He's also a lot taller than he looks. I don't know if it's just me, but I always get this impression. Maybe it's like the camera angles that you see, the way that he filmed some of the battle reports and stuff. But I just assumed that he was a bit shorter than he was, and he's not. He's probably taller than me, I think.
We're just short.
Yeah, we are short.
Just short.
Yeah, but that was just as an aside. But yeah, it was really nice to meet him. I mean, there was a lot of. He wasn't meant to be there. He wasn't part of Rally Point per se, but there was a lot of content creators that had been invited by Simon that came along they supported it by promoting the raffle beforehand. So we met a few some nice people there. Yeah, definitely.
It was very good.
I saw. You've got a little list of some of the people that you.
Just obviously Luce and Em. Lucy and Emma, they're really great.
Yeah, Lucy and Emily from Sister of Eldar. They'd applied to play there. And then they were told that they just missed the cutoff point, so they asked if they could come anyway and volunteered as crew. Crew, which is that again, it shows what kind of people they are. And they went from people we'd never met before at the beginning of the day to like our best friends by the end of it. Yeah.
I'm not since then as well.
Yeah, we've been. They are absolutely lovely people.
Helped us on a video as well when we were looking at the Sisters of Battle. I had a few of them, and I was like, I don't know who these ones are. I was like,
Lucy's a massive Sisters fan, so she knew exactly what.
Our Excel little spreadsheet she's got of checking them through. It's really inspiring to get me one for neck runs.
Yeah, she's created like a checklist of all the units, and she's just working her way through. She's a proper collector.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were really lovely people. Hopefully they'll come up. They live a long way south, so maybe we'll go visit. But otherwise, we've already given them an open invitation to come up here and roll some dice.
Definitely.
So they were really nice. George, the photographer, was dead canny, wasn't he? Another volunteer.
I hope he's got some good angles.
He's got no like. He doesn't play Warhammer. He just come along because it was a charity event to support it. I think, which is
even better. I was. He was getting some photos, and I was like, sucking.
Yeah.
I was like, sucking.
Holding that gut. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
But it was very nice for him. He was a very good lad to talk to as well. So
we had a bit crack with him afterwards when we had some food and that, didn't we?
I feel bad. I wish I got. My game obviously lasted the full 3 hours, which is perfectly fine. What was I expecting? But now I walked away from it. I was kind of hoping I'd got around more people. You were very good. You were very chatty.
So my game took longer than you, but I'm just an absolute selfie demon. So I wanted to go around. There's people there who I like follow and really rate on Instagram or YouTube, and so I was like, well, I'm going to go and introduce us. Shy Bairns getting out, as we say in this part of the world.
Yep.
Go and see them, introduce ourselves, make some connections, and more importantly, be the selfie queen that I am and take selfies with everybody.
You literally, I think Max and Alex were trying to get her to go in the exhibition. They were like, "Oh, you coming through?" And you were like,
talking to people.
2 more minutes. You were getting more photos.
I mean, there's a few other impromptu people. I actually bumped into Ross, who runs Warhammer Web's YouTube channel, which is, if you're interested in 3D printing, he is the absolute king. And he also is the third member of the Painting Phase podcast. And he was lush. What I didn't realise is he's actually from this part of the world. His parents are from North Tyneside. So he was like, I was like, oh, so do you put do you put like your telephone voice on when you're doing your podcast? And he just slipped into this Geordie accent. I was like, yo, you do, you do. He's got a lovely, like, gentle, soft North Tyneside accent. It's very, very sexy.
We even like tone it down for the podcast. Just, you've got to.
Yes.
I speak far too fast if I don't.
Yeah, and so that was lovely. And then there was some other content creators
that one.
We met there as well. So I really like Welly Games. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you should do. He's incredibly funny. Makes me laugh every day. And he also does a lot of Necron like content as well on there, which is really nice to see. Good. So there's a few of those. I think we touched on the Rally Point volunteers, like obviously Simon organised it and Lucy and them. We talked about Neil, who I nearly played, ended up beating in crew, and just. It would have made me cry if I'd gone to Warhammer World knowing I was going to play and then been asked to drop out. That takes quite a strong character as well. You know, you've got to be committed to supporting the cause. Thumbs up.
Massive well done.
Real shout out to Tom from Slayer Miniatures, who painted the army, but he spent a lot of time. He knows everybody. He's been in the hobby a long time. He's got a great YouTube channel. We'll put the link in the description again. But he made introductions to a few people, including Mini Wargaming. Like Mini Wargamer Dave had come over to talk to us, and we're just talking Warhammer, and Tom just went, they've got a podcast, you know, because obviously thought this guy's not going to tell him that he does a podcast because I'm an idiot.
No, I just don't think we're going to mention it.
No. He did that. Introduced us to a few other people. Like Eavy Mental Health was there. He's got a great Instagram account as well. So people like that who we wouldn't have met otherwise. Nice. Gareth from Dante Paints, I met him at Warhammer Fest, but he's a lovely bloke as well. He wasn't able to get a game, but wanted to be there to help support the event. People like that are magic, you know.
You could be here all day. Just being
I was going to say,
and
that's it.
Because they are all great.
That's the thing. It doesn't make great content, but it's the Simon has created a really, really lovely community there. The people that came there were genuinely nice, and well done on that. And there's other people I've forgotten. There's like. There's a lad there called Josh who I met who was a fan of the channel, which became a bit of an awkward moment because he's like, oh, I'm really a fan of the channel. I'm like, oh, thanks, we like that. And he kind of stopped and he's like, this is a bit more awkward. And he said, well, how does these things normally go? I was like, I don't know, mate, it's never really happened before.
It's new to us, mate. We don't know.
So we kind of had a good laugh. We had a chat on, he was a very funny guy. We had a chat on as we were going around the exhibition as well. But people like, all of those interactions made it a special day. But it's obviously not very interesting to viewers that weren't there, so I'll shut up now. But there was an awful lot of good people.
Oh yeah, we'll put everyone's links in the description below because everyone deserves a check out.
And I think one of the things that made it Simon from Rally Point nails this is because you are wearing a Rally Point top with your name on it. Everybody feels comfortable, coming together, and that makes it more of a communal thing, which really works.
It's something small, but it's definitely worth it. You just know who's a part of this event. So even if you don't know someone, it just makes that like conversation started a lot easier. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, you're here to play Warhammer. You've supported a charity. Great, we've got things to talk about already.
Yeah.
It's a natural
Exactly. Yes. Particularly for the socially awkward among us, which is most of us.
It's groups for me. I don't know what it is. Like
Yeah.
when it's someone by themselves, I'm like, oh, I can talk to them. That's fine. When it's a group of people, I just can't make group talk. I'm so bad for it.
Yeah, we've all got different skills, and I think a
You
lot
just go
of
over with a camera like selfie,
Yeah.
selfie.
You, selfie, yeah.
I'm not asking. I'm telling you, get over here.
Yeah. No, I appreciate everyone. Thank you for everyone's patience who I pestered. I've got loads of selfies.
Yeah.
But moving on then, we've obviously talked about what a good day it was.
It was a
But
great day.
yes, as the title of the video suggested, are there any ways that we could improve not the Rally Point Day experience, because that was awesome, but the
amazing,
Warhammer World as itself as a destination venue that 40k fans are going to go to? Can they make it better?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, I think for me, I mean, again, it was a great day. I really don't want to poop on that, because I loved the weekend.
Oh yeah, it was
the
amazing.
best weekend I've had in so long. To be
Yes.
honest. For me though, again, this is very common in like tournaments that we go to. Maybe this is where we're being a bit more.
It's common in GW run events. Yes.
Yeah, where the terrain side of things wasn't all there, kind of thing. I would have loved to have seen more themed tables.
I didn't know this, so in my head, I thought all the tables were going to be themed.
Me too,
because
yeah.
when you see people go, usually they're seeing these fantastic
like
pictures of these
yeah.
amazing tables, but there's a handful at the kind of at the front, isn't there?
Yeah. So like, and there's like, I think it could fit like 30 tables, I think it was.
40, I think, 30 or 40 anyway. But yeah, so the rest of the gaming tables that we were playing on was just a nice battle mat and that. Yeah. But the amount of terrain you got on there was not enough.
No, it wasn't. And I felt really bad. Like, it really worried me when I first got onto my table, because I brought a very shooty list.
Yeah.
And my shooting list is quite devastating. So when we got to ours, we had 6 bits of terrain, but 2 of them were the flat Rubens.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh. And then like he started getting out his models, and he had a little bit of shooting as well. And I was like, I'm a bit worried, because you have shooting, I have shooting, and it'll be very fast game, and it'll be whoever gets turn 1 pretty much wins.
Yeah.
So luckily we did source some more terrain, because we're big boys, we can go ask for more terrain. So we did get some more, but you just got to be careful. You don't want to ruin. So I could have ruined that guy's day. If
there was some on the table behind us, and we talked about that, me and Ryan, like, should we borrow, should we get, is there enough terrain? And I'm glad I didn't take it, because someone had that table booked, just started a little bit later than us. Can you imagine if I'd just stolen all the rest?
And then they've got less.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's this?
But we had 6 pieces as well. It's just not enough, like I touched on before, because of the speed of our armies and the amount of gun we had.
Yeah. You have a lot of like jump out, shoot, jump back in.
And we could have put a lot of hurt on each other, and I did. I think I lost like not quite a quarter of my army, but it was close in turn 1. It hurt. Yeah.
So you do need that terrain. And maybe we're just thinking too much like tournament talk, because I know we attend tournaments.
I talked about this with
tournaments.
because I talked about that with Gareth from Dante Paints about that, and I was saying I hadn't really. It's a different mindset to get into.
Yeah.
Because there are ways around it. People are experienced players in this going, well, why don't you just put more in deep strike or strategic reserve or something? You can do, because then you can't. If it's not on the table, they can't hit it. Mm-hmm. But you need to put in. You need to also have enough on the table to be able to hit them in turn 1. If you got, it was a gamble on. It was like going back to 7th edition. It was basically who got the roll off was gonna win. Had stood a strong chance of winning.
I was very nervous for mine, because mine was all shooting. If I went first,
if you got first, you would have hurt him.
I would have hurt him massively there. Yeah. So I'm glad we got extra terrain, but it's just, it needs more. But again, more themed, I would have said. I would have liked to see that.
Good. What about the shop?
The shop itself, again, maybe it's because I went in there thinking, I'm happy to spend more. Like, I mentioned before, I was really good with my money.
You were ready to spend.
I was ready to spend more. Yeah, and maybe that's what my downfall is. But like, I feel like there wasn't like enough. I don't know. Like, one of the little examples I've got is I like to collect little fridge magnets.
Yeah,
and there wasn't any.
No.
I was thinking just something little things like that, little gimmicks. Because it's Warhammer World. It's like a place to visit. So when you go to abroad, you find all these like little gift things that you want to take home and such. I was expecting more of that.
There was the merch side in particular. There wasn't, like you say, everything from I guess it's because if you're thinking about the profit per square foot or square meter that you can make from t-shirts or merch like that is probably substantially less than you can from boxes of plastic crack.
That's true.
So I guess and there was a bit of merch downstairs, but you kind of forget about that because it's sort of you're not going to stop.
So
you're going.
you're straight upstairs.
You're straight upstairs. You want to get to the gaming room. You're probably not going to spend. So there was a bit of merch, but not enough in my opinion.
There was a couple of like nice little things for the wall and such. A couple of calendars as well. Which were weren't too bad at all. But yeah, like t-shirts, caps, just like little things that I get like. Tourists basically, because that's what we were. We're tourists.
You are tourist. It's a tourist destination. Fundamentally, a Warhammer tourist, yes. And I think the other thing was, while there was quite good levels of stock and some things like you said that you can't buy elsewhere, but there wasn't. Arguably, Element Games that we went to on Sunday probably had more stock.
They had more variety.
More variety,
sure.
Yeah,
like Necrons. I mean, I went to the Necron section and it was no Imperial. I was looking for a Basilisk for the Imperial Guard.
Yeah,
and I found their selection of Imperial Guard. It was like one strip. And I was like, ooh, I was expecting more. Like, obviously there's Forge World stuff there, but there wasn't a lot for there's a lot of Kriegsmen, which was pretty cool, but not a lot of big ones.
Yeah, I've got, if the rumours are true, Krieg are going to get a lot of plastic soon, so I reckon they've got the Forge World Krieg out front and centre to try and get rid of them. Get them sold through.
I almost fell for it, but I did remember, I was like, well, I know this is coming, so I'm going to wait. But yeah, there would have been more selection. Like games.
I think so, yeah. One of mine would be... I think the Battle for Angelus Prime diorama, which is the big one where you're meant to try and find the assassin, the lighting kind of spoiled it a little bit for me.
I briefly mentioned it before, where it turns to red and like my eyes. I mean, I've got eyes first of all, but it's just hard to see. Like they've done it for a reason, probably to make it harder.
I think maybe it's that, and also it's got that kind of early 2000s vibe of like changing the lighting on a timer, so it goes from like red to blue to green to white. But it was almost an audible sigh of relief when it turned to like normal white lighting, because you could look at it properly, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's great."
You could actually see that when it turns to red, because half the army was painted, half of the display was red.
Yes,
because it was chaos invading.
Yeah, it's corn.
So when it was red, I couldn't see it
on the red lighting,
and I was like, "Oh, what's that?"
So I was talking to again my pal Lee from the Betrayed by Dice podcast. I was talking about this to him the other day, and he was saying what a good solution would be, if they want to have the lighting change to make it more dynamic, is maybe it's half and half it, so it changes into coloured lighting, and then for the other half it's just white, so you've got time to really drink it in. But the lighting, it's meant to make it add a bit more drama or whatever, but it's not working for me.
It's really hard. They should have actually. When you go to like the Grand Canyon and such, and it's got those little binoculars.
Little viewing.
They should have a little viewing.
I'm surprised they haven't done that. Like £5 for a minute.
Looking down at it. I'd probably pay for that.
Oh, totally. The ability to zoom in would be awesome.
Yeah. I think I've joked about bringing binoculars next time. All those fancy like ones where you take to the theatre. Like, ooh,
the theatre. Yes. It's we can't really words are difficult to describe how big this is. Like it's an enormous diorama. It's hundreds of models. There's so much you could spend all day there.
Of this room that I think we're inside of now.
It's big. It's bigger than like a standard UK garage. It's massive. So you could spend all day just looking at
it's tall as well. Because you think
there's a lot of height to it.
Yeah, because again it's quite. But you come down 2 flights of stairs.
Yes.
To get around the entire thing, so that again puts it in perspective.
It's massively impressive, but the lighting is not helping GW take note.
Fix that out.
What about you? Any more on your list?
Drivable tank
experience.
I mean, or at least something to go inside of, because the outside of the tank was great. Like it was well done.
So
looked amazing, iconic.
We dug into this for the preview video and found out it's based on an armoured personnel character from the British Army. And as of 2012, at least, it was still drivable. So if it is still drivable, are they missing a trick? They're almost space. They're almost space constrained. But if you get they could drive you around the industrial estate in it if it's road legal. It would be the amount of people that would book and pay for a drivable Rhino experience is massive. So they're missing a trick there, I think.
Definitely. The swords on the wall, they had loads of them, and I kind of wish I had more props, because like I don't know, some Necron stuff, some Space Marine stuff, because they had this Slayer sword from
Golden Demon. Yeah, the OG one. Yeah,
I know we can't pick that up and such. I get that, but like later down on it there was like a chain sword. That looked really cool, and I was like, well, just maybe more stuff like that.
A few props for taking pictures and stuff.
Exactly. A little photo booth kind of thing would have been really fun. Just because again, everyone loves messing around with like to get an actual size of a Space Marine helmet. Like we've got this one here. It's just fun to be like, oh, this is the size of what they're holding. Oh, this is crazy.
Exactly.
That
would have made for some good pictures.
That would have been nice.
It was nice to. We did get some pictures with Horus.
We did. Yes.
which is a guy called Exeter Cosplay, I think it is. Again, we'll put the link in the description. But he was at Warhammer Fest as well, wasn't he?
We were
like
first there,
amazed.
And I was like, we were so new to it. I was too
Yeah.
nervous to approach him, but I was like, that looks really cool. I'll take a picture of him.
We were first in at Warhammer World. Selfie. Yeah.
Right here,
Got a picture of him
right
like
here.
bashing me on the head with his hammer.
Yeah,
Yes, I think my last criticism is as much as the staff were amazing, there should be more of them in Bugman's, particularly when it's busy.
I think there's two elements to that. One, it was busy, so it was hard to get stuff done at the right time. But at the same time, they were also really nice. So I did just want more of those nice people.
And I think they knew it was going to be busy because it was booked out for Rally Point.
Yeah.
So it's guaranteed. They know in advance how many people are coming to book the tables, and then they can take a wild guess at how many extra people are visiting.
If there's 40 tables booked, there's going to be at least 80 people.
Put an extra person on the bar.
Yeah.
I mean, Em and Lucy, who we mentioned before, their first job in the morning that they helped out with was everybody got a free drink. And it took them something like 2 hours, I think they said, to get everyone's drinks because of the issues with queuing at the bar and stuff. So it would have been nice if that was a bit of a smoother process.
It was much appreciated, everyone getting it. It was Simon who got us around a drink.
Yes, thank you, Simon, and also thank you to Em and Lucy for doing the waitress duties.
Not to call them out, but my first order was wrong. I did get a coffee.
Was it
the first one? But I did get my tea afterwards.
It was fine. Mine was fine.
I still drank both. The way everyone was getting
caffeine.
drunk.
Yeah,
it was very good.
Good. But I think that's for me. That's all of my. I mean,
final
all
thoughts,
of my points. I mean, how did you feel overall?
Again, it was a fantastic trip. I think everything about it was great. Although we're talking about things to improve, but there's always stuff to improve. We can improve all the time, and we just want to see things the best it can be. I think that's why we always talk about that.
Warhammer World's such a destination, and it is a great place to visit. But there's always if it's like if you talk to somebody that goes to Disneyland or something, be like, did you enjoy it? And they'd be like, oh yeah, I had a great time doing this, but I would like to have seen this.
There's always the key element of Disney World.
There's always things.
Something about no matter how good it is. But honestly, it was a lovely weekend. Lovely meeting everyone. Sorry if I didn't get around to speaking to most people. You were very good at it. I am awful at it, so I do apologise. I'll be better next time. But for me, it was just massive thank you for everyone who was involved. They've made the day just as good as it was. So
it was a special weekend. Felt it's good for the soul to do these things, and hopefully we'll get invited next year. We don't know how it's going to work next year, but if we're on the list, we're definitely going. I think, as I mentioned before, I'm still not great at taking compliments. So for those people that do watch the podcast and came and said hello, like Josh, I'm sorry. Also, I'm both of us are quite bad with names, so I reeled off a few before, but there's loads of you who we met and had a great time. So if we've not mentioned you, it's not because we didn't like meeting you. We really did. But that kind of vibe created by bringing people together with a shared purpose, it was the best of the hobby for me.
It was very good. Very nice. I think that's everything from me.
Yeah, likewise. I hope you enjoyed our
conversation.
Yeah, it was a nice little chat, and it wouldn't be us if we didn't come up with a couple of things that could be better.
Exactly.
But overall, it was a wonderful experience. Can highly recommend it. Definitely go and do it if you get the opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Particularly if you're from somewhere where Warhammer is quite expensive, because if you come over from the States. Definitely do bring a credit card because you can buy a lot of stuff that's
you'll save money.
Cheaper.
Realistically,
you will absolutely save money.
And shipping to America, it's worth doing it.
It's possibly about to get more expensive, but we'll not talk about that. Good. All
Very
right.
nice.
Well, thanks again, and I hope you enjoyed this. We'll be back soon with another podcast.
Thank you.